But joining me right now is actually the CEO of Marcegaglia. Emma Marcegaglia joins me in a very well-placed position to talk about the energy crisis and also its impact on the industry, given not only is she CEO of Marcegaglia, but also you were president of Confindustria and also chairman of ENI as well. So plenty to talk about. But I guess the first thing I want to ask you is just politically, how you are viewing this potential transition away from the Draghi government to most likely a coalition of the right?
Well, first of all, of course, I was a strong supporter of the Draghi government because I think they've done very well in terms of how they face the pandemic and also how they obtain the next generation EU and also how they deal with this energy crisis and the geopolitical crisis. So it was really a pity not to have this government. Now, of course, there is some concern. Of course, we don't know what will happen. The polls are talking about, majority of the center-right, but, let's see. Of course, there is some concern, but I think at the end we have some strict regulation which we have to stick with the PNR, and so I think any government that will come up from the election will have to execute the PNR, have to execute, all the commitment that we have with Europe and with the ECB. So I'm concerned, but at the end I think we are in a situation where we cannot change too much the so-called Draghi agenda.
It remains to be seen, of course, a big question for the investment community. We've been talking a lot about the energy crisis and how it's affected Italian industries, Italian businesses. I want to start off with your business specifically. How has it affected? Because I know that not only are you dealing with rising energy costs, but also a big part of your imports also came from Ukraine as well.
Yeah, you're right. So first of all, the price of gas and energy, as you know, compared with 2020, we have multiplied by 10, the price that we have. So gas was 20 euro per megawatt, now we are 200, and we also went to 300. Yeah. So this is not sustainable in the long term. Now there are things that are going on in the government and also hopefully at the European level on price cap or decoupling the gas and the gas market with the energy market. So first of all, the price of gas and energy are a big problem. And we are not steel producer, we are steel processing, so our energy intensity is lower than the steel producer, but still, the heat is big. The second thing that you rightly mentioned, we use for some of our products, the heavy plates, we used to buy 90% of our raw material, the slab from Metinvest in Ukraine and also Russia, sanctioned companies. So this was a problem, but we have to switch immediately after the war 100% of these raw material sources to Asia, because of course Russia and Ukraine were not available. Now the situation is getting a little bit better because we can find this raw material in Far East, because also there, demand is going down, so there is availability of this sources. But anyway, there has been a kind of disruption in the value chain that we have to face in a very, very rapidly and in a very fast way. The third thing is, of course, also, inflation. Inflation is slowing down the final demand. So we already see some movements on this, even though for what we see now, we don't think we will have a strong recession. We think we will have a recession, a strong slowdown of the demand. But for what we see now, we're not talking about a big recession. But as you said, there is a lot of uncertainty. So nobody knows what will happen. The outcome is still very uncertain. And when you have to deal with uncertainty, you have to be very fast, agile.
Yeah.